Hello guys, today I'm going to take a look at the tailgate motor for the low loader which came with my Scania R620 model. So if we look at this motor, it's fairly straightforward. We have 2 wires for the motor and 3 wires for a potentiometer. We can see the potentiometer here. So this is basically how a servo works. So you apply power to the motor, which turns the output shaft and also turns the potentiometer, and as a result you change the voltage that's output on the signal wire from your potentiometer, and by measuring that signal from the potentiometer you know what angle your tailgate is at, or if it was a servo you'd know the angle the servo was at. So basically our Arduino is going to control the motor and measure the position. Okay, if we take a look at our pins on our potentiometer here, we have 3 wires. I have the multimeter set to resistance. So we have a brown, a red and a green wire. So if we go from the brown wire to the red wire, we have 2.4, that's 2.4k ohms. If we go from the brown wire to the green wire, we have 8.8k, and from the green wire to the red wire we have 6.6. so it looks like the wire in the middle is the signal wire. So maybe the colours are a little bit misleading. You'd kind of think that brown was ground and red was positive, but it doesn't look like that. The brown wire should be going to ground, the green wire should go to your voltage, your VCC, and the red wire is the signal wire that you measure. Okay, there's 2 little guide pins here. So at the minute, if this was in the trailer, the tailgate would be sitting upright. So that's about 3.3 volts, and if I rotate the motor, that would be the tailgate going down, so just under 1 volt. So this is the voltage output from the potentiometer, and it's based on the battery that I've chosen. So if you have a different battery, you're probably going to get a different voltage out here, so just be aware of that. But that's basically all you need to do. You just need to measure this voltage as you move the motor, and when you get to that position just stop moving the motor. That's all. It's exactly the same as a servo. So the next thing is to put it into the trailer. So as you can see, when I added in the battery, I left some wires here to power the electronics for the motor. So hopefully they won't be in the way when I go to put this motor in. Just put them up here for now. And this motor just fits in here, mounted on those 2 positions. So the motor fits in there, no problem, as you would expect since the trailer is built for it. So the next thing to do is put on the tailgate, and how you do that is you screw it off from the trailer, or from the tail here. So just push that out next, and that releases these little pins out here without damaging anything. So now we just need to put this on the trailer, or now we just need to connect it up to the motor. So it's exactly the same. You see this bar that was in here is exactly the same as the one that was in that's on the motor. So you just need to match the pins to the little plastic connectors from the tailgate, and then push it all back into the trailer. So if we look at the motor here, you can see there's a hole here and a hole here for screws, but unfortunately the little mounting posts here, they aren't tapped for screws, so there's no threads inside these two holes, and also they're too small to tap to M3, and they're too big, the holes are too big to tap to M2. So maybe they're normally tapped to M2, but because this was only supposed to be a static model, they just drilled out the holes for some reason, I don't really know why. But the motor here should still be fine, held in place by this plastic piece that goes on top. So there's little cutouts and things for to hold the motor in place, so that should be fine. You shouldn't need those two screws anyway. There's no space down this end of the trailer for the electronics, so what I'm going to do is possibly place them in one of these compartments here. So we'll take a look and see how much space there is left. So there's lots of space in here where I can add the Arduino and the motor driver, and also there's a hole in the little aluminium, I suppose it'd be supporting strut through the middle of the trailer, which goes directly to where the motor is here. So we should be able to fit all the electronics we need in here. So the next thing to do is solder a few wires onto these and run them up through the aluminium strut in the middle of the trailer up to where we can connect them to our Arduinos up there, up at the other end. I'm going to run 8 wires up through the trailer. That should be enough for the 5 wires we need for the tailgate motor, and also leaving a couple of wires for LEDs that I'll be adding later on. Okay, there's all 8 wires up through the model. So now we just need to connect them to our motor. I'm just going to solder each of these wires up and add a little bit of heat shrink over them to cover it all up. It's pretty difficult to do in front of the camera, so I'm just going to skip ahead to when that's done, and then we'll be able to test the tailgate working on this model. Okay, now I have it all wired up, so I can connect it up to the battery and show you the motor working. So there we go, that's the tailgate down. Back up again. So, no surprise, the motor works fine. It's designed to work there, so it's no real surprise that it worked that easily. That's all I can really do on the trailer at the minute, because I'm possibly going to upgrade the R620 to work off 3.7 volt batteries, because the tractors are all running off 3.7 volt batteries, and the Scania at the minute is running off a 7.4 volt. So I'd rather keep everything the same if I can. I'm not sure if I will be able to run the Scania off the 3.7 volt battery. I'll need to test that out when I upgrade the radio to the NRF. So if I switch the Scania to 3.7 volts, I'm going to need to change the battery in this to 3.7 volts, which will make a mess of any wiring that I do now with the 7.4 volt battery. So for now, I'm just going to wrap the wires up inside the trailer, cover it over with this panel here, and then when I get round to upgrading the lorry, and I know what I'm what voltage I'll be using, I'll finish off this trailer. So that's everything on the low loader for today. So if you like that video, make sure and give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see the rest of this this build, make sure and subscribe. You won't miss out on that. And if you have any comments or suggestions, I'm planning to run some LEDs up the side of this, maybe some SMD LEDs, the green ones possibly. Let me know what you think of ideas like that, or do you think it'll look good, or if you know of someone who's already added LEDs to their trailer, maybe you'll send me a link so that I can check that out, get some ideas. If you have any other comments or questions, you can shoot over to the forum and let me know there. And that's pretty much everything, so thanks very much for watching.